All right, guys. Well, welcome to part 4 of our goal setting webinar series. And we're very excited to be bringing this event to you tonight because we believe this is such an important part for anyone in life who wants to achieve success and has a vision and wants to put some action together and is committed to that action to get a result. And if you're here tonight, you're one of those people that are committed to success. So we really congratulate you for making the effort, because these are the things that a lot of people don't do. Take the time to plan, set their goals, review them, and just learn a bit more about themselves. So, Kel, would you like to add anything more on that?
Absolutely. It's a bit of a challenge, going through life and and wanting to be successful. You've chosen trading, but I'm sure there are other areas in your life that you'd like to be successful as well, depending on what success means to you. But setting goals and reviewing them allows you a bit of a culling process. You start to look at what's working and what's not working, whether that be in trading, in your health, in relationships, even in the last 9 to 10 months within the pandemic. It's probably you've been in a bit of a bubble, so you might need socialization or connection with others. So it's important to go through this process. And Cam and I have been doing this process now that we're kind of in our last quarter of the year as well. I mean, we set our goals at the start of the year. Have we reached them? Are we, happy with our progression? And we also do it with our family and our children. So we're just going through that process right now. We're going to teach you a little bit about what's showing up for us and what we're learning, and a few little tools and tricks tonight.
Yeah. And first of all, for those people who don't know us, because these events are open up to the general public. They're not just for members. So they're for anyone who's interested in
Who's
growth.
in our community.
Anyone in the community, yeah. So you don't have to be a member to be a part of the goal setting series. So first of all, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Cameron Buchanan. I'm one of the proud owners of IDTA with Kelly here on my right. My background is education. I am passionate in the world of education and being a high performer myself, looking always to be the best I can be in anything I do, whether that's futures trading, share trading, whatever I do. But analyzing the markets is one thing that I find fascinating. But to be an analyst, you need a system and a process, and that is a big part of the whole goal setting system as well. So trading plans, it all works in the same way. So I wasn't born with this. I wasn't naturally ordered thinker. It's something I've had to really work on, and I was never really taught this at school, or my parents never taught me goal setting. So I've had to learn it myself, so it's not hogwash. It works. Even if you're unconscious about your goal setting, it does work. It might take a bit longer to get there, but this stuff does work, and I can only speak from my own experience. So this is why we love sharing it with you guys as well. Particularly, we know trading is a demanding activity, and to be the best trader you can be, you really need to be ordered and clear. So learning what we're going to teach you tonight is going to assist you in everything in life, not just your trading. And to my right here is the beautiful Kelly Lowry. Kel.
So for the people that don't know me, I am one of the partners with Lockie and Cam in the International Day Trading Academy. And I look after the segments around investment, and I am the mindset coach. So I've been working in both those areas or categories of business, investment, and mindset for nearly 30 years. I know I don't look that old, right? However, loads of years, as you see there, 14 years in business. And I've been dedicated to work with traders in this place of mindset for the last 7 years. So that's been an interesting journey. And, I run retreats as well. So you'll get a chance over the time of your membership or even being in the community with the International Day Trading Academy to have a look at what I do. And my programs are called the shifts. So it's all about shifting what's not working for you. So goal setting is certainly a part of that process. And when Cam spoke before about for himself about, you know, growing up and whether goals was a part of the process, whether we highlighted or not, I feel like it was a part of our process. We both had a strong sports history and business. We both owned businesses before we'd met. And to even be a business person or even be daring enough to go and set up a business, you know, you have to have a level of planning, goal setting, and some processes in place. Some people that often fail, because I spent years mentoring business people and businesses, and you know, part of the first thing I would do is have a look at their process of their business, and that would often, if the business was failing or had challenges, it was around lack of process. So we're going to talk a bit about that tonight, because as a trader, it is a business. As you become a greater trader and become more successful, your processes become clearer, and also it's like an automatic result out of, you know, where you want to be.
So, absolutely, Cal.
Thank you, Cam.
All right, so what are we going to run through tonight? Well, the overall series has been put on by myself, Lockie, and Kel, and we've been mentoring you through this whole process and planning. So if you've been with us for the whole journey, this is a great time for you to review those last quarter goals, you know, for the third quarter, to see how you achieve those goals from the 1st of July through to the 30th of September. So it's a great opportunity to review those last 90 days. There's also, I do have to make mention, if you haven't already downloaded the goal setting worksheet, it is in the members area under the resources tab, under FAQs, under documents. So we've loaded it up into there, so it's easy for you to find.
And I believe it was emailed out.
Yes, I think it was emailed
to the
out.
registrants.
Yeah, so you should have that as a source guide document to support you on your on that journey.
And just to let everyone know, if you weren't part of the part 1 process, you can go back to January and have a look at the first 30 days. So first 90 days, I'm sorry, we talk about setting your goals down for 30 days and a 90-day plan. So we do come together every 90 days, and it supports you as far as a commitment, you know, to see where you were back 90 days ago and where you're heading into. And at this time of the year as well, we're heading into our last 90 days of the year. This is a time to go back and review and go, did I set goals? Did I not even set them down? So how do I even know what I'm going to review? Which is an insight there to say, if you really want to be successful, take the time. It's simple, you know, to just sit down. You've got your worksheets there, and look at what you need to achieve for yourself. So even if it's small achievements.
And it's good to do it with somebody else. If you need that extra bit of motivation, do it with your wife or your kids, your partner, your best friend, whoever, your husband. Just, you know, sit down and do it on a regular basis, and you know, do it monthly or even quarterly if you want. But at least do it don't do it when things are all pear-shaped, or it's good to
that's often where people do stop and do it.
Yeah, when things are all up in the air. But it doesn't really matter when you start. But as long as you do a consistent process and check in, and you've got the worksheet now to keep yourself on track.
And as you become better with this, it is a weekly process. You set your goals down weekly, and then you check in with them monthly and then quarterly. But with the goals, there must be an action plan. So you have to put it into action, or you're not going to get the result. It's not just think it and it shows up. Well, for some people, it is a little bit like that. But what I will say is, I always say, think it and ink it. The moment you ink it, it does show up. So manifestation occurs really fast in your life when you get clear. But that's part of your process too, of funneling down your thoughts to get clear about what you really want.
Absolutely. And so tonight we're just going to review. Well, we've reviewed part 1, going through that worksheet. So at least you've got that worksheet and what it looks like. Then we're going to focus from that. We're going to focus on one particular aspect in your life. And we're going to go through the wheel, we call it the Wheel of Fortune, but it's the life wheel. And we're going to look at one of those areas in your life which are potentially, scoring low. All right. You think you may need to boost it up a little bit. So we'll look at that. Then we'll go through what happened in the last webinar, the third webinar, because it's important because we were smack bang right in the middle of lockdown. And we just wanted to just review a little bit about how you're dealing with the pandemic and just give you some tips on what to do there. And then the last section for today is to really go through some trading goals, and we'll look at some of those things and give you some tips on how you can order your brain and what to sort of focus on.
Perfect, Cam.
So let's get into it. So part one, let's review the goal setting worksheet. So that's where it is. It's in the resources. If you didn't get the email, it's in the resources under FAQs under documents.
And if you're not a member, you just email us at idta.com.au and we can send it out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that's what one of the forms looks like. So that's the annual year goal setting. So it's your larger goals. And you can see there, like Kel said, it's broken down into those macro action points as well to be taken. It's very important to put a time on when you want to achieve those goals by, and also, who's going to keep you accountable to that. It's also good to have a reward as well, so that when you achieve that goal, you can celebrate it and work together.
Well, when reward also shows you when you've actually reached the goal. Otherwise it can feel a little bit insane. If you're a peak performance type person who works really hard and very disciplined and very diligent, and it might never be enough and you might never reach that and you never reward yourself enough. So it's crazy in life when I sit with audiences and I speak about what they're negative about and how harsh they are on themselves. And I can sit and write over and over and over again so many aspects that people can feed back to me about themselves when they're negative. But when it's positive and being grateful about who you are and what you've achieved, sometimes it's tougher, because we do live in a society where there's a lot of pressures and a lot of expectation. So it is an important part of the process that you set down for yourself. It could be a holiday, it could be something unusual that you've wanted to do, and for yourself or your family, and you set it down, you're really excited about it. So you get to the end of the year and you're like, oh my gosh, I've worked all year to have this. And very also, important part of the process.
And also too, Carl, it's a really good point you raised, because it's this negative bias we called. I just talked about this in one of our TBS webinars, the alumni webinar. I talked about this negativity bias that we have, and that is a very old system, that our survival mechanism that our brain has developed for many, many years.
Yes.
So there's a part in our brain called the amygdala, which is our fight or flight mechanism, and that imprints information onto another part of our brain which stores the memory, the hippocampus. So the hippocampus and the amygdala work together, but the amygdala is fired up 2/3 more to a negative emotion than to a positive emotion.
Wow.
And I was interesting because I went and I played golf yesterday morning for the first time in a while, and I played with a professional golfer, and it was really interesting because I thought he's a young professional, of course, but I just thought being a professional golfer, he'd have a bit more understanding of his mind, and what I mean by that is what I noticed was his attachment to negativity was a way stronger reaction to when he did something really good. So when he did something really positive, his emotive outpour wasn't as strong as the negative outpour.
Interesting.
But I catch myself too. Like if I do something good, I don't go, yeah, that was great. But if I do something bad, I go, I might say a profanity or whatever.
Yes.
But it's a stronger emotion.
A stronger energy behind
stronger
it.
energy.
Yeah.
But that's because we're wired like that, guys. So it's great to be aware of this. The science is amazing because it backs up how we behave, and there's reasons for it. It's not just we're all negative and that's just the way it is. It's just we're programmed and we've evolved to be like this. And it's a pure survival reaction.
And so you do have to work more at it. What I love about the mapping of your goals and having a bit of a plan is it does filter and funnel down your thought system. Because if you can well imagine, all the different compartments of our brain are highlighted at different times. And if you're have a busy life, there's trading, there's work, there's children, there's family, there's grandkids, there's friends, there's social things, there's fitness and health, and we're just compiling this into one day. Sometimes it can just all be too much. It's like, I don't even have time to do my goals because it's too full. But this is the way that you can map. Your brain needs to have a flow down and a mapping. And then what it does do is it clarifies what is important in your life. And then once you decide, and it gives you decision. So if you have a lot of thoughts roaming around in your brain, and there's a couple of things that I've been filtering down for myself of recent times, and I was wondering why they weren't occurring. However, in my mind, I was thinking one day, I want that, and then there's something on, do I really? So I was in question, but I hadn't done the exercise to go, well, why do I want it? What's it going to give me? What actions do I have to take? And the moment I did that, and I did that today, actually, based upon our meeting, we had a goal setting meeting yesterday with the family, and I started to get clear about what I want and what I had to achieve in order to feel that I didn't have any doubt, because it was the doubt that wasn't giving me the outcome. And things just weren't happening. And I was like, why is this not happening? I'm such an innocent manifester. So this is a great tool to just table and map your brain to find out what's important in your life, to not be doubtful, and to have a clear decision and have it show up in your life immediately or pretty soon. So if you're washing around in your life and you're thinking, I'm really busy and I'm overwhelmed and I don't have time to do this, you don't have time not to do this.
Well, that's exactly right, Gil. It's a great story. And another thing I'll add to that is, if you want to think about it, it's like, think of how a computer system works. You've got all these files you might be working on. And if you have all those files all scattered or left on the desktop, to find those files when you need them, sure, you can go and do a search, right? That's the easy way. But if you don't have that mechanism of searching, the easiest way is to put those files into a folder that you know where they're at. So that's the same thing when you've got all these things spinning in the air, and you've got all these different things you want to create, but you've got no goals, you've got no action steps. You know what you want, but you haven't really formalized it. It's all just loose.
And decision comes from it. That was an important part of the process, because as a trader, you need to be not in doubt in decision making.
No.
So if you haven't taken this plan and processed your own goals, and you fly into trading, how is that going to show up in your trading? If your mind is messy, it doesn't just immediately clear out for your trading, I can assure you. It's still all there. So everything needs a mapping and a download. I used to do a lot of mind mapping workshops, which people love. Is so awesome. I was just thinking about it today, because mind mapping is a great way to take everything from your brain, load it down, and then start to compartmentalize it into the goals. So if you've got a lot going on in your life, and you want to get in, and you're finding a bit of a challenge even to get to goal setting and what's important to you, then do a mind map. There's so much online that to teach you how to do a mind map and dump your brain down.
Brilliant.
So I think what we're trying to say is the structure of this is simple, and it's set up because it works. So then there's weekly goals, right? So you have your big goals, you have your macro goals, and you have your micro goals.
So you can just have a framework where you work down?
I find weekly really important because
Mm.
from weekly to daily gives me my time management.
Mm.
You know, when you talk about time management, you can see at the end of your week, if you set down your weekly goals and you didn't achieve them, then the next question would be, what was the order of them? And how's your time management going? So then you would make the next week, time management would be one of your goals.
And this all helps to rewire the brain to be more positive.
In flow state.
Yeah. All right. So, what was the back one there? I went a bit too far.
Oh, that was just the 90 days.
Oh, the 90 days setting. Yeah.
So breaking it down.
So you've got the 90 days. I think the slides are mixed up there, but anyway, it doesn't matter. So you've got the 90 days, then you've got the weekly session. So if you want to share any of your goals that you've achieved, anyone who was in the last webinar and went through the process, any goals have been achieved in the last 90 days, it'd be great for you to share them with us, and we can give you some accountability and give you a little bit of a clap for your achievements.
Well, you heard us on the Shift Masterclass last night we were doing, and everyone was cheering you, going, oh, you're all having fun. But it was because we were achieving a lot of goals. You know,
someone was singing.
Yeah, there was someone singing.
Look, it is someone singing.
It was one of the goals.
Oh,
Mel Gibson, that was.
He achieved his
Malcolm,
goals.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, guys. So they're the forms, right? So you've got those at your disposal, so use them. Now, you may have seen this before if you've ever done a coaching session with someone, and what this shows you is, and you can create this yourself. So just, if you've got a piece of paper in front of you, just draw a circle. And
can I just say, this would be the first thing you do. So you either do a mind map or a life wheel, because this gives you the mapping of what's important and where you would start, what your priorities are.
You can't see the slides. Ah, that's a bummer. I'm sharing the screen. You can't see any slides.
You did move it around before we...
All right. I don't know why it's not doing that. Is that working now, guys?
Can I see you and Kelly?
Now we can. Okay. Oh, apologize, guys.
Oh, do you want to?
I'll go back.
Very quick.
I'll go back and show you those forms. So that's where the file source there. So resources, FAQs, documents, and you'll download. Well, the first one, the first page is not here, but the first page, what it does, it gets you to empty your mind about, what's working and what's not working. However, I think this life wheel that we're going to do is going to be, like Kel said, I think a really good way to start. But anyway, you've got your macro goals or your annual goals. You've got weekly goals, which should be the other way around, but you've got the 90-day goals there. All right. And that's the one I was just talking about. So, from the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, we're going into the fourth quarter. So if you set your goals now, say from the 1st of October, backdate them and see if you can achieve some certain goals to the end of the year, then this is the form that you'd be filling out. And then if we go back to the weekly one, this is the one you can do to keep you on track on a weekly basis. All right. So they're the forms that we've got for you. Okay. So now this is the wheel, Kel. Do you want to explain the wheel?
Absolutely. So the wheel is all about reviewing how your life looks right now, because it changes, right? Again, different circumstances change and your attention is on different areas of your life. So what I do is, there's some ideas and categories there, but you can put whatever you want in there and cut it up to as many pieces as you want. So when you first sit down, you write, let's say I often just do mine in 6 or 8. And then I put the most important categories to me in my life at that time, because it might change. And then what I do is there is the center of the circle, which is like that little white center, is 1. Then the outside of the circle is a 10. So somewhere between the 1 and the 10, you put a dot, so a number. So you might say, well, My finances, look, I'm saving some, but I don't really have a budget, you know, and under finance as a category, that could be a 5 because you're saving money, but you're just not sure and don't really have a plan for it. So you don't have a budget. So that could be a 5. Then your relationship might be awesome. So that's like an 8 to 9 relationship, or it might not be great and you might not be investing much time into your partner because you're learning to trade and you're spending too much time in front of the screens. That could be a 5 as well. It could be a 4 or 3. If you're arguing and fighting, it could be like down to about a 3. Then there might be health. You might have health challenges. So that could be like below a 5. Or you might be awesome, going to the gym, eating great food. That could be around an 8 or 9. If it's kind of average, not really doing much, but it's pretty much you're just skimming, it's around about a 6. It's time to move out of that. You know, we want them to be in a really broad scale. So what we do, once you put each of these dots on, you join. So I take a 2, I join a line to the 8. Then I take an 8, I join it to a 5. Then I take the 5, I join it to a 2. So you're going to end up with a kind of a bit of a web in the middle. And I always shade that web in. Out of those categories, I'm going to pick, depending on priority, like important, and urgent, areas in my life. If my relationship and we're arguing, that would be a very important aspect, especially to your trading, because if you're not emotionally sound, you will take that into your trading each day. So that would be one of the priority areas you'd like to look at. If it's your health and you're unwell and that's showing up in your life, you're fatigued or you're not eating well, that's another focus point, because that would be giving you what we call brain fog. And if you've got that again, and you're spending too much time maybe in front of the screens as well, you're going to need some support around that, where you need clean, fresh brain, and for you to be absolutely on point and on purpose when you're trading. So Cam's just done a little bit of a map there. So this will give you, I would pick 3 categories a month, and then write an action plan for each of those areas and just say, these are the 3 that I'm going to work on. Now, trading can be one of them if you need to work on trading. And that's kind of an automatic, I suppose. Yeah. We always think, trading's one of those things that, you're going to do and it's set up. But your ecosystem around trading is just as important to become a successful trader, because that's the environment in which you set your trading into. All right. So like I said before, your career is your trading aspect. Financial is an important part, because you need money to trade. You need to understand risk to reward in your trading. If you're having challenges there, that would be a priority to work on as well. As I said, but fitness, sport, health is really important. You need that brain to be in peak performance. Relationships, you need your emotional being to be in flow state. So if there's a challenge, if you're arguing with someone, that I would take the night off. Trading, I would just observe the charts and I wouldn't be diving in, because depending on how you're feeling, I can assure you take that field with you and you'll inject it into your trading game for the day. Spiritual, is about connection and connection to something. Why are you here? What are you here for? Those big questions are quite important to people. If you don't have one of those grounds around that, a grounding around that, you can get cracks in that area. And also connection or contribution, feeling like you're giving back somewhere, somehow in your life of service, and feeling good about it. A really important part, because if you just focus on money and career, it does have an empty end to it. Absolutely. So Cam, that just gives you a bit of a playing field to start with, and then you start on your priorities. Then after a month, you work through the next 3 priorities, and so on and so on.
So if you've done that process while Kel's been talking, you may have highlighted something in the area that what you want to improve. And that now gives you an idea of, okay, well, what goals do I want to have around that? So what do I want to achieve to make me feel or move that rating up to an 8? And then you can work on the action steps from there. So that's just a starting point to get you.
Some people get a real aha moments when they look at their circle and go, oh, wow. I hadn't thought about, I've been so zone focused here. I hadn't thought about this part of my life.
Yeah. So that's a great process. So we really encourage you to do that.
And as Cam said, it's called your life wheel, but we call it the wheel of fortune because it's where your fortune really is. It's your full success is having a balance, and we call it a flow state in every part of your life. So you feel great. And when you show up to the markets, you know, you take that flow state into the markets, and you actually flow with the markets because they do this as well.
Yeah, it all works together. It's all an order of mental processes. And the thing about trading too, it's, what do they say? It's a highly concentrated form of human life. So it's of human experience. So you really need to have those solid foundations before you even step into the markets. And that's where we sometimes go, we learn our faults or our misgivings or our undoings or our shortcomings, that the market can expose those things.
I say that the computer screens are like a mirror, right? So if you imagine that what you're seeing outward from you is like a mirror beaming back to you. So if you're thinking, oh my God, the markets are doing this, just look at yourself. Oh my God, you're doing this. Oh my God, I can't stand this. It's making me so angry. Why am I making me so angry? And so it's like, it's full personal responsibility and ownership when you're left. And it's quite challenging for some people because out there in life, whether it's a career or friendship or family members, you can kind of get into a little bit, whether your subconscious knows it, whether you're conscious about it or not, or it's in your subconscious, a blame game. But then when you're left with yourself and these mirrors all looking back at you, it can be daunting and challenging for some people.
And like we were talking about the brain before, the brain finds it difficult to make decisions in uncertain environments as well. So if you're a procrastinator and you're thrown into an uncertain environment like the markets, that's going to even exacerbate more of your feelings of procrastination as well. So
uncertainty.
This is why you
put you into survival mode.
And this is why you need to understand that the brain doesn't work great. Trading is a risk. We're making risk-based decisions in an uncertain environment. The brain doesn't like it, so it needs lots of training and mental skills. So
to reach there,
that's what you have to be mindful of, and we can definitely assist you with that in our programs.
I think that's just a highlight of what we went through in part 3, and it was a crisis and how people were dealing with that, because it does show you how how powerful you are in either way, whether you're in a negative mindset or a positive mindset, and how you deal with change. Do you have a fixed mindset or a growth mindset? Did you find it really challenging and want to hold on? And were you upset and angry about the situation, or did you just go with the flow? And what showed up for you? So that's what that was about. Interesting time.
Yes, some people I know in Melbourne, for instance, where they've had full lockdown, stage 4 lockdowns, they've had the ability to be better with their time management because they go, oh, I've only got an hour to be able to do this, I better do that. So they become more ordered and processed. So they actually use that experience to make them more organized.
So I had people in the shift program and we were talking about the other night, when you are out with groups of people all the time, at times there's drama or there's gossip and it just fills up your life.
Get more work done.
Yeah, get more work done, but also clarity of mind because they weren't seeing so many people and in a bit of a bubble, it's quite personally impacting in a great way.
Yeah. So, and this is a key point here, gives you some sort of control over your life during uncertainty. That's the key point about goals.
Well, the markets are uncertain. The markets are uncertain, and this is an area that you're going to need to be able to, work through and train the brain better.
Well, it helps to have those, like a mental framework to deal with situations as well.
Of course.
So, in terms of the micro goals, or little G's, we call them, they were things that we gave you ideas about to get started. If you never had done goals before, just think of little things first to get you started and to get some satisfaction and reward from achieving.
And routine.
Just habit.
Well, when you're uncertain or anxious about something, the best thing to do is go to routine because your brain needs consistency, and it needs to feel safe again. So to get out of like that survival mode, you go to routine and simplicity. So tiny little goals. And when you reach those little goals, your brain goes, we're safe again. Yeah. We're safe again, you know, and it takes you out of that freeze mode. Otherwise you can get into a real freeze mode. And if you take all of these patterns into trading, it's going to be a challenge for you.
So let's talk about trading, shall we, Kel?
Okay.
And this is for all levels. So even if you're a complete beginner and intermediate, advanced trader, it doesn't matter. This is for all levels. Mm-hmm. So, and this is a key point, this phrase here: if you do not implement and keep on track with planning and setting your goals, then it could possibly make trading a struggle, not a success. All right.
And if you feel, it's interesting, because if you feel that times in your life, and I do a bit of timeline therapy with people, if you feel like, wow, sometimes my life is in flow, sometimes my life is in a struggle, I always say, just look back, look at the cause, you know, look back, look what's happened, look at the repetition. And it's like, oh, this happened in my life, that happened in my life. Oh yeah, that happened. So it doesn't make you a bad trader. It just means you've had a bad day.
Or you might have,
or you've had a bad week, you know. It's it's not blaming yourself. It's all about understanding that it's outside of you. So did you see what I did? It's not I'm a bad person, I'm a bad trader, and owning it. The moment you own it, you start thinking it's you. But I had a bad day in the markets, or I had a bad week in the markets. So if you make it separate of you, you're not conditioning yourself.
Yeah, you're definitely not getting down the negative spiral, keeping it impersonal. And another thing about this is, like if you've got a lot of things in your brain that you haven't, like there might be goals, but you've got no action plans associated with them, you might have a lot of unfinished business as well.
They become ideas.
And that can just get really full, and you need to do a defrag.
Well, they're not really a goal then.
No.
They're ideas, right?
Yeah.
So they're just a whole swish of ideas in your brain until you set them down into a goal schedule with an action plan, and you know where you're targeting, then it becomes a pure goal.
Yeah. And that final statement down there, remember, buying an education, buying the platform, opening a trading account and starting to trade with real money does not necessarily give you the success. It is the process that gives you the direction for success. So very important, guys.
And we are talking about, because we do have a blend of traders on tonight. So Cam and I, you know, are going to talk about, so if you're a novice trader, and we're talking about novice trader being someone that's novice in the futures market, because you might have traded in other markets before, or someone who's, you know, intermediate to a bit more advanced. You'd be thinking differently because you've been in the game for a little while. Yeah.
So number one, goal one, you might want to look at building a process, and that process may start with self-awareness, like looking at yourself, like having a good look inside about how you think, how you process information. What are your strengths? What opportunities to grow and to learn? All right. So
what do you already know about yourself?
Yeah.
You know, from history, what are your traits? What are you good at? What are you not so great at? You know, what do you need to work on? Focus on your weaknesses so you can make those stronger.
So trading isn't if your trading isn't where you need to be right now, and you've been at this for quite some time, we need to go back and rethink your process as your first goal.
Yeah,
so
because often
your whole trading process,
people join, members join, and often just so excited and want to race through the education. What happens is the brain takes time to lock in a process. So they miss the process. It's like people, when I was saying before, when people open businesses, and I mentored people in business, they're so excited about the business, they dive in. It's like, have you got any processes? Well, no, we just want to open the doors. You know, we've got a product and we want to sell it, we want to make a profit, but there's this huge gap in between without the process. So, you know, if you're a novice trader, meaning that you're still in your learning phase, not actualization phase, then you'll be thinking you need to focus on the process, not the money.
Yes.
Because I know that you're joining because this is a business and you want to make money, but you need to focus on the process and the learning aspect of it, as opposed to going straight to making money and going out there into the market way too early.
Yeah. The financial goals will come as a result of the process.
Of course.
That's the key. So the first thing you can do is an audit of your thinking and your traits whilst you're preparing to trade. So are you rushing to the computer? You just want to get that, as soon as the bell goes, you want to get that trade and you're done and dusted? Have you done any analysis beforehand, or you're just blindly just following anyone?
Have you had a bad day?
Yeah.
Emotional day?
Yeah. Yeah. So all of these things, start auditing your thoughts whilst you're preparing to trade. And then also in the act of trading. So while you're actually performing the trade, what's going on in your mind? What are you thinking about? Just write those things down, and you'll be amazed at how much stuff, how much monkey chatter
outside of trading.
That amygdala is just working overtime, and it's just firing up, and it's burning a lot of mental energy. All right. So that's one thing I want you to get to understand, is how much mental energy are you using as well. And that will be the self-awareness is very important, because like you said, Kel, you can start to weed out those thoughts that you don't need to have, those distractions, or those thoughts that you don't want to have. They can be completely avoided or taken out by having a process that does all that for you initially. So you've already done the process of planning and analysis. So you don't need to have all those thoughts while you're trading. You know what you have to do. All you have to do is see it and act and pull the trigger. So questions are: what are your strongest and weakest attributes? Are you good with your finances or not? Are you inherently a good planner? All right. And there's no good or bad, right or wrong. It's like no one's naturally born a planner. We are human beings. We are born chaotic. We are
Life's chaotic.
Life's chaotic
in the world.
Yeah. We're a part of the environment, right? So we have to build structure around the chaos, just like the markets. Do you have a challenge completing things? So any procrastinators out there, those things you haven't completed could be affecting your trading. They could be mentally taking a strain on your mental resources.
I want to say, I'm talking to all the procrastinators out there. Procrastination is a little bit different to completing, because some procrastinators never start. However, I'm talking to the people that start and never complete, because life will always be tough and you'll never ever reap the full rewards, because you'll do half the work, and usually the front end is the toughest of anything. The backside is usually the easier flow. So anything you do, especially when you talk about when we're talking about trading education and trading attributes, from the front end, you've done all the hard work. If you leave out the backside, that's the important part of the process. So completing all of your goals, all of your jobs or your projects, everything you set down, every action plan is a priority. Completing your education is a priority. Completing 100 trades that Cam talks about an accelerator before you go live, is a priority. So you're never going to reap the full rewards unless you learn to complete.
And yeah, I received a email today from one of our members who just finished accelerator and already done his trades.
Wow.
Sent through everything.
Awesome.
Spreadsheet.
Have you noticed probably because of the ISO, I've noticed our traders
90-something%.
Yeah, our traders are like speeding up.
Yeah.
I've noticed that going through the process and doing really, really well, a sign of the times.
Yeah. And are you an ordered personality? All right. Now, this is, like I said, this thing, you can train this. It's not natural. So it comes to training. It comes down to slowing down everything, taking some time to meditate, take some time to breathe every so often.
And if you're in denial and say that you're an ordered personality, just look around your desk. Look around you right now. Have a look. Have a look around your bedroom. They will give you insights to whether you're ordered or not, because trading, you need to clear out everything so that your subliminal mind and your brain can focus and pinpoint straight in. If it's full around you, you need to remove it.
So that's goal number one, right? And that's for everyone. Number two, make trading a business. So like we said, focus on a solid process. Methodically follow a written process, or your potential failure heightens. We don't want to fail, but it does happen. Results may not come instantly. So
I just want to add to that too. We are in a time of instant gratification. Everything we're clicking from a technology perspective has given us a conditional behavior where we expect it now.
Click and collect.
And it makes people impatient. And it's I just want you to know that that's what's flowing out there on the planet. So for you to go, I have to wait for my results. Results come to those who do the work. Patience, patience, patience.
Well said. Plan should be written taking into account preparation. All right. So these are the things. Your preparation. So what do you do before you trade? Your analysis. So what do you do before the market opens or before your session starts? Your execution. So what are your rules? What are the reasons for you to enter the trade? And then your evaluation phase. So they're the four main parts of the process. So you want to chunk them all down into little pieces so that you can read them every time before you even, of course, before you execute, but you know your plan so well that everything has the preparation phase, analysis phase, execution phase, and evaluation phase.
And evaluation, like reporting comes into evaluation, market replay, like, just looking at what you're doing, evaluating what you did is a priority in life, because again, that
closes it off.
Well, gives you a review and the feedback. So then you don't make the stories up that you're a bad trader or you're not smart or you're not very good, at it.
They're the facts.
Yeah, the facts.
Facts are the facts.
It gives you the mapping to go, wow, that happened. And I'm not a bad trader, but I took a bad trade.
And your perception of what a good trader is is personally up to you. So your perception will be different to someone else's perception. So this is very individual. It doesn't matter. If you maybe your results may be unrealistic because you're trying to please someone or prove to someone, then that you may need to go back to self-awareness and go, well, why I can't achieve these goals? Maybe because they're unrealistic for my stage of learning.
And maybe they're not your goals. Maybe you're doing the goals for somebody else.
Yeah.
And they're not for you.
Yeah.
These goals have to be personal, and that's how you will achieve them.
Yeah. Nothing should change without reevaluation. I see this so often. People, they have one bad day and they just change their trading plan.
Oh, I know. Jumpy.
It drives me up the wall. It's like, you got to stick at it. It's like, just give yourself time to test it, right?
We call it tinker.
Yeah. If you give it 30 days or 20 trading days and you haven't got the results, then you can go, right, okay, I'll reevaluate what I'm doing. From those results is a consistent theme.
And the market's changed too.
Of course.
The market, so you do have some moving considerations in there.
Yeah.
No wonder some people are feeling uncertain. Do not jump around to add more chaos to the process.
You got to really, you'll find when the more you trade, the more simplistic you can make it.
Yeah.
Strip it right back. It really frees your mind up to just flow.
And I will say,
it is incredibly liberating.
Don't go out and read all different other platforms of different traders' views, and you can get so caught up with information it stops you even putting a trade on.
You have to trust. It'll come with time, But your work is in the markets, in,
Yeah.
taking into account market conditions, being in the market, journaling what you see.
Disciplining yourself, learning to make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that learning to make a decision is a complicated subject, because you've got to understand, and that goes back to understanding the uncertainty of the markets, because your brain, if you're not aware of it, your brain's not functioning 100% purely in the markets. It doesn't, because unless you've trained yourself to be okay with uncertainty, your brain is not going to be functioning clearly. So, and like Kel says, you can't make great decisions unless you've realized that. So that's number one. You have to understand our brains and how we're not wired up for uncertainty very well, and our brain we don't make decisions well in those situations. So take into account that. Changes can take place as your skill level improves. So, and this is where I see a lot of people jumping the gun, is like they'll talk about trading multiple contracts and they haven't even achieved it with one contract.
Yeah, I've heard that so often too.
So just get good at doing one target, one contract, one target, two contracts, build up to a point where then you can go, you know what, I'll make good money out of this first contract. Or the first target, let's go for a second target.
And that's often, if you haven't solidified one contract and made profit regularly, consistently, then you're not going to have the confidence as well. And your foundation of all your trading character and plan will be built on a very rocky, shaky foundation.
That's true. That's exactly right. Because you're going from here to here, you're going to
then you dive back below.
Rise.
Then so here's your foundation. What happens is you spike up.
Yeah.
And I'm very used to dealing with people like this. Spike up, it's like gives you a big hit.
Yeah.
And then you go back below the level. So that's when you get into negative, below the level of your foundation, and then everything starts shaking. And then you know what often people do? They stop, they say it's not for them. They're not a great trader. It didn't happen fast enough. But if you look back in your life, do you do that with everything that you start and get to a point where it's all too hard? You either blame yourself because you don't take the time. It takes a great skill to take the time and have the patience and do the work.
These are the skills. These are the foundational skills. You talk to any pro trader and they'll say this is the stuff that has made them successful.
Can I say this is the stuff that is made beyond trading?
Yeah.
You successful in anything. Exactly. As a person, as a human on the planet, this is the stuff that makes you successful. And by the way, you're a trader as well.
Training the brain. And these are skills. So take into account your personal style of trading as well. So very important that you are your own person. So know who you are and know what style you trade. So if you're you like getting in and out, quick out of the market, you like reversing the market, go with it, stick with it, do with it, stay with it. Don't chop and change around to try and be someone else. Be who you are.
And if you're a bit of a slower personality and you like to analyze a little bit more and take your time, then don't take too many trades. Just make sure the trade you're taking is a great trade, 1 to 2 trades.
Yeah.
And then later your vision for the year can be to go to 2 contracts and then 2 to 4.
Yeah, more trades if need be. So make it your own. This is where you have to personalize it. So many people go, "Oh, can I have your trading plan?" It's like, yeah, sure, but it's not going to make any sense to you. It's something that I've developed and built over years. There's the foundations are there. A lot of 101 principles are in there, but there's other stuff in there, it's my own stuff. It's stuff that I've worked and I've seen and I've learned from other people. And
to you, it's to your design, your trader design.
So, and you've got to take full ownership of your trading business, and your trading plan is part of that. So goal 3, are you ready to trade? So this is where you start to assess your skill level as a trader. So you can start to ask questions to then from here, you can create goals around this to find out What else do I need to learn? So are you ready to trade? Have you tested your plan with at least 100 sim trades? Are you okay with making risk-based decisions in an uncertain environment? There's no guarantee a trade will make money. The trader's chances are based on their skill and the system of winning and losing. There's no such thing as winning without losing. Professional traders know before they enter a trade that the odds are in their favor, or they wouldn't be there. So that comes back down to your plan, you trusting your plan.
And also, Cam, just even running through in your mind, doing a little bit of a state change and a state consideration before you go into trade, and think about what it feels like to have a winning trade and feel what it feels like to have a losing trade, and feel how that feels, because when it shows up in the markets, and if you have a loss, then you would have already felt it and you have the sting, you know, so you don't get so caught up emotionally with that loss because you've already felt it. So it's an interesting little visionary
you can do
aspect that you can do for yourself.
Yeah, that's what I've got in my plan, to do a visualization of trades going to the certain areas in the market.
Yep.
Like tonight, the market went to the major, it pushed through the 50% of a major range, a daily range. It was a really strong level. It already went to an extension of like a 160.18. So I'm like, I'm gonna look to reverse off this level and trade it back down to the 50 and see what happens.
Right.
And it was textbook. But I was so confident because I'd done the analysis beforehand.
I know.
And I'd already visualized if it gets there and fails, I'm gonna short it and trade it down to that level.
So part of your process was really important because you knew your trading plan.
Had to
the process was you did a visualization of the process, going in, taking the trade, and then what happens with that is
execution's just.
Of course, because it's like intuition too.
Yeah.
You know, you've already visualized it, it shows up.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's
and you do what I know when you're in flow too. I see you take really fast snippets out of the market.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I get another bag to buy and things like that. My goals. I get my goals met.
Yeah, you have to wait till Christmas, love.
Oh, okay. I say that every year.
All right. So the last one is deciding on a system is less important than gaining enough skill to make trades without second guessing or doubting the decision. Confidence is the key. So that really just comes down to knowing what you're doing, and having to know what you do, you've got to write it down so that you actually have processed it already and you know exactly what you're looking for. This is great for novice traders to read. I read my plan every day. I read it every day. I know exactly what I need to look at, and it's there. And my plan has all the parts on it. It has my analysis. It has my execution. It has my evaluation, all in one area.
Confidence comes from repetition. Confidence comes from having a clear process of repetition. The brain goes, it's safe. I know it. I've seen this before. I feel great about it, and then it shows up. So,
and that's always, there's that level of uncertainty as well. So you're dealing,
of course, and it might be a loss, but you knew that you were confident. You stuck to your trading plan.
With that has an edge. That trade has a high probability of working. So I'm going to stick with it. Are you coping with the highs and lows of winning and losing? That's a big one. All right. If you're not dealing with winning, say you get on a winning run, and you start over trading because you're winning all the time. All right. And then you start having some losses and you have a losing run, can you cope with both those situations? Because you have to be able to cope with winning as much as you have to cope with losing, right? It's the two sides of the story.
Agreed.
Some people don't cope with their winning very good. Some people don't cope with losing very good. It's like the same thing. So looking at your coping mechanisms.
And also to give you a bit of an audit within yourself, how are you in your life up until now? Did you win anything ever? Were you always the loser? Just have a listen to those stories and have a look at your life, and you're going to need to do some work on this, or it's going to show up in your trading.
Yeah. All right. Now we're almost and having a mental framework to deal with losses as well. I won't have time to go into that, but that's something that we can work with at a later time, particularly because we do want to I'm looking at putting together a package, a mindset and performance program for our traders. So that will be where that mental framework it goes
Some
in
skills
there.
and tools.
Yeah. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, let us know, because I really want to develop this program after the conference and get things happening on this level.
And just to let everyone know, with all due respect, it's just hit 8 o'clock and we're nearly there. So we're just a couple of minutes over.
There's
to
been
respect your time.
A lot of great information tonight. So we don't want to cut it short, but we do want to respect, like you said, Cal, respect the guys' time. So keep excellent records is important, because successful practice trading does give the trader confidence in the system they are using, if the system is generating positive results in a practice environment. So that reinforces your confidence, seeing the results, but you can't see them if you're not writing them down. Otherwise,
think it,
it's just
ink
guesswork.
It, and your brain, because it's the difference between your brain retaining. The brain retains what you write. If you just see it, it forgets it. So it needs to lock it in. Again, retraining the brain. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So document the process. You learn what works and how to avoid the costly mistakes. And that's what we're doing. We're trying to avoid errors, because we know trading is such a high performance activity. We need to be on point and high performers. We need to minimize errors and execute with confidence and complete commitment. That's the word. Commitment is what you need. And if you're hesitating, analysis paralysis, if you look, your processes are probably lacking. That's the bottom line.
And
really.
Financially, by documenting the process of money, whether it's a budget, whether it's risk to reward, by documenting the process, you will learn where you're at, how much risk you have, how much you can, you need to be quite quick with working out if you've had a loss, how much, based upon your trading plan, how much risk to reward you have to take another trade or two in the evening. So it could be very expensive if you don't know your figures.
Now, you might want to have some, after tonight, you might want to say, you know what, Kel and Cam, you guys have hit some nails there. You've really, opened up some sore points. You might have to now look at creating some mindset goals for yourself. So if you're not good at planning, preparing, or reporting on projects in your life, then you're going to need to learn how to become more disciplined. Okay.
Say it, think it, ink it, and actually do it. And
have someone accountable to it.
Yes.
If you're a procrastinator, then you're going to need to learn how to complete projects. All right. And
actually start them.
Start and complete.
Yeah.
If you think that this is all hogwash, then keep doing what you are doing and see how that will work for you in the long term. All right. So trust us, guys. This stuff works. And
it's not hard.
No.
Where it becomes hard or challenging is that when we've got a really solid conditioned behavior, or that we're potentially even in denial of, or we don't even know exists, the challenging part is to start. It's just starting is the challenging part, to say, I'm doing it tonight, and everything in your life might show up so you can't do it, but your commitment is keeping your word to yourself.
Yep. And then in that process of just starting, you'll go, oh, okay, hang on, let's go back and create an order to get this achieved.
Exactly. And if you don't do this after, 4 goal setting webinars, we bring these totally free to all our community 4 times a year. We could be having a family dinner and just hanging out tonight. We've done, I think, 4 webinars this week. So it's been a full-on week, but this is for you guys. These are the simple tools that we use to become our own success through our lives independently, but also collectively as well.
Yeah.
And it's all about personal growth. Some people say to me, I don't need personal growth. I just want to learn to trade. And it's like, it's the glue that brings it together. It's your ecosystem, it's your environment, it's everything inside you is about growing into this person who's going to be this awesome, successful trader.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Cal. So I think that's a wrap, guys. I think we're done.
It is. I think we're done. And so don't go through life, grow through life.
I love that.
Yeah, you love that? I thought you'd love that. So if you're interested and you feel like, wow, there's some parts there that I really need to work on, or there might just be one or two areas that you think you need support in, not that we've pre-launched, I'm just sharing it with all you guys tonight, is we are launching at the conference. Cam has been training and teaching some coaches, some IDTA accredited coaches for the last, this year, last period of time. And they're all going to be working with you in these areas as well. There's going to be technical coaches and mindset coaches. So if there's an area that you need support in, then email us at info@idta.com.au. I have one last shift program and a couple of seats available in November. So if you feel that you would like to do a program with me, then email me at Kelly, Kelly, .Lowry @idta.com.au, or just go to info and I'll give you a call and see what we can do. See what, you know, where's going to be best for you to fit in. But it is, all of this is paramount. If you have a challenge with anything that we've talked about tonight, then we're here to support you to stay on track. You know, you've decided trading as a career and you now have membership for the lifetime of IDTA. So that's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting because it doesn't matter how long it's going to take you. If you need to work through these areas first, you're actually saving yourself some money because you're not heading out into the markets live trading without making sure that you're clear on your process, that you're disciplined enough, that you can make the correct decisions, and you're taking those awesome trades. And, you know, you're getting rewarded for the work that you've done.
All right.
So thank you, guys. Thank you for being understanding. We have gone a couple of minutes over the time frame, but we want to honor you all tonight. Lots of rich information. Hopefully you got a heap of gold nuggets. We love bringing this to you. And our next session will be in December, just pre-Christmas, which will be our completion for the year.
Brilliant.
In this series.
Thanks, Kel.
Thanks, Cam.
Thanks, guys, for joining us. And we're going to get some dinner.
All right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Bye.